Dogs are often the most beloved characters in various things, video games particularly, but as we all know with video games, sometimes even the best sounding thing can suck horribly. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 of the most hated dogs in video game history. Starting off with number 10, an obvious one, the Duck Hunt dog. Now, if you've ever played Duck Hunt, you have never said to yourself, wow, what a great dog. That dog's really helpful. As I am hunting the ducks in this game, this dog has justified his presence the whole time. Yeah, you've never said that even once. Partly because no one talks like that, but mostly because that is exactly what the dog is. Just an awful prick who laughs at you for missing, kind of functions as a means to slow things down and irritate you, and, you know, just generally suck. Everyone who has played Duck Hunt hates this friggin' dog. I just look at his face. He's a jerk. I'd like to see him without his opposable thumbs do better than I can at this test of marksmanship. Ah, that's right. I'm a bird. Maybe it's just that. Maybe it's that I am a bird and the dog is, helping a human hunt my brethren. No, that's not it. The dog sucks. Moving on to number 9, the Resident Evil dogs. Now, you might say to yourself, well, these guys aren't technically on your side, so at least they're honest, but I don't know if you remember playing against the Resident Evil dogs back in the day on the PlayStation. Not only are they kind of gross looking, cause zombie stuff and all that, but they're Dobermans, which back in the 1990s was like the scary dog. Nowadays, it's more the pit bull in terms of stereotypical portrayal of dogs, but I think Dobermans, in terms of stature, are scarier looking. These damn things were really hard to take care of. I mean, obviously you weren't forced to get along with the zombie dogs, but they could really be a pain in the ass, especially if you had to face a few of them at once. And this goes for the remake as well. It's not as though they suddenly became a cakewalk or less annoying. In fact, they just look more realistic and therefore more gross. And number 8 is Chain Chomp from Super Mario Bros. Now, I understand this is a less traditional choice, not specifically a dog, but let's be clear, they're meant to seem like a mean guard dog. They're basically a cannonball with teeth chained to a block, but it's very clear they're meant to mimic the behavior of dogs. They're very dog-like, and well, we aren't talking about well-liked dogs, and I cannot recall a time when the Chain Chomp, this thing that could, wait for a moment and then snap at me, was something I liked. I don't remember that part. I do remember in various dungeons in Super Mario Brothers them getting very difficult. I mean, nowadays it's significantly less like that. I pretty much have most of the old Mario dungeons basically memorized and timings and all of that stuff. But that came with a whole life of playing them repeatedly. A whole wasted life. Back when I was a kid playing Mario, these things could definitely make I'd be geez, these again? All right. I'll wait here for the right time, I guess. It's a pain in the ass. And number 7 is Cerberus from Devil May Cry 3. Now, here's where I think that we start to get into something that is less BS. Cerberus is a tough boss. The first real boss and test of skill in Devil May Cry 3. He's not annoying for any particular reason. He's just difficult. He is probably the fight where most people were getting the option to turn down the difficulty, which is kind of a little bit of a slap in the face, but yeah. He pisses everybody off. Not exactly what anyone would consider the life of the party, per se. And he came back in Devil May Cry 5 as well. Now, there are some people who say that DMC 5 Cerberus is much harder than DMC 3 Cerberus. I see some people say the other way around. For me, the fight wasn't necessarily the hardest thing in the world. They did add some things to it, but really the thing that gets you is the sinking feeling that you got from being told you needed to adjust the difficulty level in Devil May Cry 3. That came right back. At number 6, it's Mikko from Skyrim. Now, Mikko has a sort of sad story with a dead owner and all that. and we feel for him in terms of narrative, but Mikko, as a non-human companion, is not clever. He gets in the way a lot. Like, for whatever reason, he really likes to stand in, like, narrow hallways or doorways that you can't get through if he's just standing there. And he's just standing there, and I'm just walking here. It's too bad they don't let you build Italian characters in Skyrim, because then maybe Mikko would get it. Maybe not. I don't know. He is an artificial intelligence construct, using the term loosely, obviously. And again, his story is sad. I don't want to take away from that. He's got a dead owner. Always goes back to his dead owner when you dismiss him as a companion instead of back to your house. Maybe he's got other stuff on his mind, just sort of trails off and starts daydreaming in the middle of doorways and hallways. You're the Dragonborn. You're trying to get stuff done. At number 5, the dogs/wolves in Days Gone that knock you off your bike. Now, if you've ever played Days Gone, your bike is the most important thing in the game. And it seems like what dogs serve the purpose of is knocking you off of the most important thing in the game. They don't do a lot else. They're not even really that hard to defeat, but they do knock you off your bike. And in all honesty, they could be hard to defeat for all I care. That wouldn't be the annoying aspect of them. It is the bike part. If there's one reason you will remember the dogs in this game, it is because they knock you off of your bike. Nothing else does that. If you're careful, you can pretty much ride your bike anywhere without interruption, if not for these damn dogs. I don't really know what else to say about this particular dog, but they made quite an impression on me by doing what they do, which is knocking you off of your damn bike. At number 4 is the annoying dog from Undertale. Now, the annoying dog has a name that makes it an obvious addition to this list. The game's creator, Toby Fox, actually names the annoying dog as a proxy for himself in the game, so perhaps Toby Fox is an annoying person. I don't know. I certainly wouldn't do that if I were designing a game. That said, the dog ends up thwarting a number of Papyrus's plans during the course of the game, as well as at some point actually being a bomb that you have to defuse. I don't know. I find the annoying dog kind of funny sometimes, and there's a certain sequence of events that you can actually complete that will end in the dog becoming the president of the underground. And meanwhile, you're not the president after all that work you did. So I guess that's kind of annoying. And number 3 is the Silent Hill dogs. Now, you'll remember me talking about the Resident Evil dogs as being gross. The Silent Hill dogs, much more. They're more of a dog-shaped meat thing. There's variations on this throughout the series, one of them of which just has a bunch of worms for a head. Perhaps more fun, though, is the Shiba Inu dog at the end of Silent Hill 2, which turns out to have been controlling all of the events of the game. It's not a canon ending, so that's not true per se, but it's also probably one of the funniest endings where there's just a dog with headphones making Silent Hill happen to you. I particularly don't like the look, though, of the sniffer dogs with the tongues. Oof, they are rough. Get it? Dogs, rough, ha. At number 2 is the Watchdog of the Old Lords. Now, I would say that this guy has less particularly annoying characteristics other than not being weak to fire while being only weak to serration. He's just hard. Like, obviously there are a lot of things in a Soulsborne game that are hard, but Watchdog of the Old Lords really took up a lot of my time, let's just say. And that itself is, again, partly because he's only weak to serration. You can't use, like, fire on him, which is usually one of the ways that I like to take care of a quote-unquote true beast, because they're usually at least somewhat weak to it. The other problem is it has this fire burst attack that it uses once its health is below 60, and like other variations of his attacks start to have fire bursts with them. He's a general pain. And finally is the dogs in The Last of Us Part 2. Now, I saved this one because there is not only a dog that you like and is cuddly and nice, but like the dogs that you actually do have to kill are kind of just being good and doing what their owners ask of them. It's not like they're like evil dogs or zombie dogs like some of the other dogs in the zombie games on this list. It's just dogs. Dogs doing what loyal dogs do. Probably the most annoying thing about them, though, is that killing killing them alerts all the soldiers around. So even if you're good at getting rid of them, they have an interesting and annoying thing that they do. Well, that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable all notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.